The most beautiful video games of 2023 are a real test for your PC and console. Let's start with Alan Wake 2. A certain stratum of players have always had questions about the networking and content of Remedy games. But what the Finnish developers have definitely succeeded in is the quality of the graphics. Quantum Break was hardly inferior to the PS4 exclusives, but Microsoft's console was weaker. Control has become an excellent demonstration of retracing, and Alan Wake 2 is all together. Even on consoles, the game looks great and practically does not slow down. And if you have a powerful PC, you can sometimes forget that you are looking at three-dimensional models, not live actors. The models came out so realistic. The detail of the locations also deserves the most flattering words, as well as numerous post-effects. As a result, the game Alan Wake 2 turned out to be very demanding. But for that one of the most beautiful games of 2023. Next, Resident Evil 4 Remake. And although the Ray Engine game engine was born in the last generation, Capcom has decently modified it since then. Therefore, each new part of Resident Evil, starting with the 7th, became more beautiful. The original Resident Evil 4 was one of the most beautiful games of its time, and the remake took over this feature. Thanks to a darker style, the 2005 hit began to be perceived quite differently. For some it is better, but for others it is not. But this is already a taste, because in any case, technically, the game came out very beautiful and pleasing to the eye. Except for ray tracing, it does not significantly change the quality of graphics, but significantly reduces performance, at least on consoles. As a result, Resident Evil 4 Remake, although not the newfangled Unreal Engine 5, still shows wonderful graphics and level design, one of the most beautiful games of 2023. Next, the exclusive from PlayStation 5 is Marvel's Spider-Man 2. The developers from Insomniac Games have always been able to show a beautiful picture and optimization for the Sony console. Released under the sunset of the PS4 era, Marvel's Spider-Man, it has become almost the most technologically advanced game on the platform. Later, a remaster arrived, which, although it turned out to be wonderful, but in a sense its release was a strategic mistake, because either the developers hurried to update the original, or the PS5 did not have enough features, but the sequel no longer makes such a powerful impression. However, there are still improvements. In Marvel's Spider-Man 2, traffic density has increased, the quality of ray tracing has increased, the drawing range is impressive, and you feel the light from the animation. Yes, they missed the target a little, but this circumstance does not take away the status of one of the most beautiful games in 2023 from Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Next, a remake again, for some kind of Dead Space remake, a full-fledged reworking of the legendary horror from 2008. While game studios are trying to get the most out of Unreal Engine 5, it continues to improve its frostbite. And Dead Space Remake is a great demonstration of that. Thanks to the great lighting implementation, the original 2008 has not aged as much as Resident Evil 4, and even now, it looks and plays well with some cosmetic mods. But how completely the game was redesigned in Dead Space Remake is just jaw-dropping from working with light, detail, and effects. Therefore, the jump in graphics in the remake is very noticeable. Although the gameplay and characters were redesigned, which someone might not like. At the same time, Resident Evil 4 Remake and Dead Space Remake have one identical feature. Both reinterpretations turned out to be more gloomy. This allowed us to observe an even greater emphasis on the beautiful play of light and shadow in creating an atmosphere of horror and gloom of the environment. Next, it is worth mentioning about Final Fantasy XVI. The games of the Final Fantasy series have always been pleased with the excellent quality of performance, and Part 16 is no exception. Someone was waiting for a more tangible step forward compared to the remake of Final Fantasy VII, but even the available level is good. Once such a picture could only be seen in CGI, but now everything is generated in real time. In addition to excellent graphics, Final Fantasy XVI is notable for a darker narrative tone and a number of gameplay changes. True, not all longtime fans appreciated such changes, but in any case, Final Fantasy XVI looks very nice and is one of the most beautiful games of last year. Next up is Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, a huge DLC for the original game with a lot of bugs and problems fixed. And I must say Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty has really now become a dream game for fans of such a setting. And although the original Cyberpunk 2077 was released in 2020, it still pleases with the quality of the graphics. It is normal for CD Projekt Red to make games for growth. Just remember The Witcher 3. The Phantom Liberty edition did not bring great improvements to the visual component, but it still looks very impressive. In open-world games, it is often necessary to save on the quality of the environment, but this is not the case here. The models and characters have as much detail as the surroundings. Again, if you play on a top PC, the console version is still noticeably worse. But Phantom Liberty is valuable not only for its excellent visual, but also for its dark story, which has become an excellent addition to the main story. Next is the restart of Lords of the Fallen, at the same time using Unreal Engine 5 technologies, which gave Lords of the Fallen a sample of 2023 to become a very beautiful and gloomy game, but unfortunately with noticeable optimization problems. Lords of the Fallen is one of the most beautiful action role-playing games at the moment, but for the external gloss, I had to pay for poor performance on PCs and absolutely terrible on consoles. Digital Foundry even called the state of the game on the PS5 and Xbox Series a disgrace. However, our top is devoted to graphics, and problems with picture suspensions that make the gameplay uncomfortable do not relate to the topic of the article. This is quite fixable over time. Therefore, if we abstract from all this, we will get an excellent demonstration of the capabilities of Unreal Engine 5 in the style of dark fantasy in the next Souls-like action Lords of the Fallen. Fort Solis is also worth mentioning, although it is a boring game with a banal plot and zero gameplay, and at the same time, one of the best demonstrations of the capabilities of Unreal Engine 5. The character models, environment, and lighting are simply magnificent. In some places, footage from the game can easily be confused with some kind of sci-fi horror movie. Of course, such a project will be revealed only on a powerful PC, otherwise you will have to decently reduce the graphics settings, because the optimization here is so-so. Next up is The Bright Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, a game based on the film universe of the famous Avatar by James Cameron, worthy of the visual quality of the film. Ignoring the gameplay flaws, consider Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora as an impressive virtual tour of Pandora, where you can wander among its majestic forests full of gorgeous and amazing plants, interact with fantastic animals, explore picturesque open plains and breathtaking mountains with soaring cliffs. As in the movie, you can enjoy the world of Pandora by flying on the dragon Ikran, and many plants have been endowed with bioluminescent properties, which gives them a unique appearance at night. Ubisoft's technical team has fully unlocked the potential of the Snowdrop engine, although the game requires a powerful computer for full visualization. Then ported to the PC The Last of Us. Yes, it has finally happened. Truly one of the main exclusive masterpieces, which stretches from the sunset of the PlayStation 3, was released for computer owners after all. We are talking about the remastered version of The Last of Us, which was released on September 2nd, 2022, but only for PlayStation 5 owners. And at the end of March 2023, it reached the PC with even better graphics performance. However, on release with a bunch of graphical problems in terms of optimization. But the developers have already released several patches that fixed the main problems. We hope that in the near future, the developers will announce The Last of Us 2 for PC in order. to squeeze the maximum out of graphics for powerful computers again. It is impossible not to mention the Hogwarts legacy. Fans of the game series about the Great Wizard were able to enjoy the atmosphere of the Great Hogwarts. Players will be able to run through the corridors of the Great School of Witchcraft and Magic. This is a role-playing game in the Harry Potter universe, where the action will unfold in Hogwarts of the 19th century. The main character is a school student who holds the key to an ancient mystery that threatens to tear the magical world apart. As you progress, the player will explore the open world, upgrade his hero, brew potions, and learn spells. The game has won positive reviews from critics and players. True, they were scolded for optimization, but this was in the first couple, since later, with the help of patches, they were able to significantly improve the game about the School of Magic and Witchcraft. Star Wars Jedi Survivor also looks very nice. The new adventures of Cal Kestis convey the atmosphere and spirit of the Star Wars universe, not only with all these manifestations of Jedi power, the machinations of the dark side's minions and lightsaber duels, but also visually, the continuation of the adventures of the bright Jedi Cal Kestis from Respawn looks impressive, especially in terms of visual effects with all these bright sheaves of sparks that knock out lightsabers during duels. Detailed locations that are so huge that Kestis will have to cling to some kind of flying beast to navigate through them, and Imperial bases, one kind who are awed by the power of the Empire. As a result, Star Wars Jedi Survivor did not disappoint the players and became one of the most beautiful games of 2023. That's it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow interesting and beautiful games together. Until the next video yet.